Greetings, one and all. I like to get to the bottom of things, and to that end, I'd like to add to the video that I made a few days ago about face masks, because I spotted something which I think might interest you, and I've done a little bit more research here. Why is it such an issue? Do they work? Do they not work? Well, I found out one of the issues is that there hasn't been a randomized control trial. So there's been no truly scientific trial. There hasn't been time, or they haven't got, I don't know why, but there hasn't been, it seems. There have been some experiments with the virus coming through various cloth and paper masks. But perhaps then, this statement from one of the universities I read is a good guideline for us. And the statement is this: masks don't work in preventing, but in reducing. One more time. Masks don't work in preventing, but in reducing. Keep that in mind, please, I suggest. From my previous video, you saw that this cloth, mine is Italian linen, reduces the transmission in terms of distance. But part of the confusion would be that obviously we're all intelligent people, and we're thinking, but firstly, this can't stop a virus, surely. And you're right. It doesn't prevent, but reduces. Some might get trapped. Whether that's significant or not is for you to decide. What it does is stops the trajectory, stops it travelling that far. And you're thinking, well, you've got a lung full of air, it must be coming out and going somewhere. Yes, it is. It's coming out and going like this, rather than coming out and going like that. I've done the demonstration in the first video for that. Usefully, material, I'll come to that later. I recommend this for a number of reasons, if I remember. Usefully, our Prime Minister, Mr. Boris Johnson, ably demonstrated the consequences of the average mask. I'm going to play video, and I'd like you to observe. I'll do it twice. Once it's slowed, second time slowed down. I'd like to observe when he says capital, I think it's capital, I can't read my own writing, but it's % cases. Capital % cases. Those are quite puffs. And as you observe, you'll see his hair, which I don't have, going puff, puff, and puff. And rest assured, you can see there are some gaps at the side here. You can rest assured that there'll be puff coming out of the side. Have a look.
Here in the capital, it probably represents about 40% of the cases. By tomorrow, it'll be the majority.
And now if we have a look at it slowed down, same clip.
Here in the capital, it probably represents about 40% of the cases. By tomorrow, it'll be the majority.
Okay, you can see from that clip what's going on. Quite a blast of air there. And I say equally from the side. So you can imagine that if you're next to someone and they're next to you, your exhaust port and your import is there, and their exhaust port is right next to yours. So you're exchanging the breath straight into the sides there, and all around here, and out through the mask. This, I recommend. One reason is that you can wear it around your neck and it's always there when you go searching for it. Secondly, it's quite porous, but you might say, what's the use in that then? Well, the other masks are porous anyway, but because it's quite porous, there isn't the resistance. My breath comes through. In my previous video, you'll see that it's quite effective in stopping that, because you can hear on the microphone. You might not know what I'm talking about. You have to look at the previous video. But I think I demonstrated that without doubt. And because it's quite soft and porous, one, it doesn't make me feel so just unpleasant. And secondly, there isn't the blowback forcing it to come out of any space there is. You can imagine the less porous this is, the more it's going to blast out there. The more porous it is. If it's ridiculously porous, it's not going to do its job. But I think this is a wonderful compromise, and also it means I tend not to start raising my voice and puffing even harder with my breath, because people can hear me quite clearly, which I noticed with these other masks you can't, and I start leaning towards them to listen, they start leaning towards me and working even harder. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm not calling people ridiculous because it's just just naturally you'd do that, wouldn't you? But it is ridiculous. But I'm not calling people ridiculous, because you would. I do it. I lean forward. How ridiculous is that? I'm leaning forward, they're leaning forward, and poof, poof, puffing away. So I think if we can understand what's going on, and hopefully I've shown that to some extent, then we can make intelligent decisions about all of this. Obviously that puffing up there and puffing out there is... I'll leave you to find a word. I've made a few notes here then for summing up. The actual spread of the virus or the breath through the material. So it is going to come through the material, as they say. It doesn't prevent, it reduces. So the material will catch some. What does it do with it? Is it lingering in? It must be. You're breathing in, breathing out. It must be. It gets damp. You need to change it every few minutes, I would have thought. Otherwise, what kind of unholy soup are you brewing in this covering? We've mentioned then that you're exchanging that for this. Consider for yourself. Really, as they said, you need to stay 2 meters apart. 2 miles apart will be better, but not very convenient. The further apart, the less any of this is going to matter. Well, I hope that's been some use at looking at why masks don't prevent transmission, but they do reduce transmission, and importantly then, how that reduction occurs, and how then you might intelligently use that in different situations. I think that's as clear as it's going to get until there are clinical trials. I trust you keep well. Be seeing you.